Good evening, all. Let's start our workshop. I think there are some more to join. They'll join in the meantime. So let's start the session. So today we will be discussing on the fundamentals of content writing and tips to follow in order to create great content. Okay. So my name is Shanki Suryarachi, and while conducting the session, if you all have any doubts, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask me, or you can even use the chat box. Okay? All right. So today we are living in a digital world where information is flooding and the attention span is constantly falling. So it is crucial to find innovative ways to stand out from the clutter. So this is where content writing comes into play. So what is content writing? Have you all ever come across a blog post or a captivating or a press release which captivates your attention from start to finish? So that's the magic of content writing. So content writing is the process of developing written content to the digital media platforms to inform, entertain, or persuade the target audience. Okay, so let's look at an example. So Michelin is a well-known tire brand worldwide. So when this Michelin rather initiated, this was long time back, back then, automobiles were very popular among people. So even if automobiles were used, it was mostly in the urban areas and not in rural areas. The automobiles were run mainly in France. In France also, automobiles were run mainly in Paris, not in other regions. So Michelin brothers, they wanted to change this concept and they wanted to introduce a concept where automobiles were used all over the country, not just in Paris. So what they did was they developed a comprehensive booklet, which I would say in today's context, something like a user manual. They developed a comprehensive booklet which included details on roads in France, then gas stations in France, then hotels in France, then technical details like how to change a tire, so things like that. They included in this booklet, and that was their turning point for Michelin. From that Michelin guide, it was known as Michelin Guide. From that Michelin Guide, Michelin was able to build a global brand. Even today, this Michelin Guide is there. So here are some pictures of the Michelin Guide, the initial stages. So my point is, content writing is not only about grabbing the attention of the audience, but also about informing the audience with details, just like how this Michelin guys did. Okay. So, in Sri Lankan context, I think that there was this one Sri Lankan advertisement which was quite popular among people, and that was even there were even memes on social media using that advertisement. Okay, so let's have a look at this ad, then I'll carry on.
මාත් එන්නම්.
එපා. පොත ගහන්න ඕනේ තාත්තේ.
Excuse me, miss. මම පොඩක් බලන්නද?
අනේ ලොකු දෙයක්.
වයර් එකක් බුරුල් වෙලා. ස්ටාර්ට් කරලා බලන්න.
හරිනේ. කවුද ඒ ආදයා?
නමක් ගමක් දන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි මනසේ.
Commercial credit සබියෙන් බලගෙන්වෙන.
Okay, so in this advertisement, which was quite popular in Sri Lanka, where there were social media memes as well, it's true that it attracts the audience and it was popular, the content was popular, but I'm not quite sure whether people could remember the brand, like the brand message that is not properly being communicated. That yes, it helps to grab the attention of the audience, but people can't really recall the brand. So that is also not great, because when it comes to content writing, you should also not only grabbing the attention of the audience, but you should also inform your audience. Okay. So another example is Wendy, which is a well-known fast food chain globally, second to only McDonald's and Burger King in New York. Okay, so they also wanted to do an advertisement or a promotion where they wanted to promote their beef burger, and what they wanted to say was that Wendy's beef burgers come with burgers come with the beef that is unfrozen. So that was the message they wanted to communicate. So for that purpose, what they did was they created a man with a red pigtail to grab the attention of the audience. And their main message they wanted to communicate was that Wendy's burgers come with beef that's unfrozen. However, this ad also wasn't a success, because this man with this red pigtail helped to grab the attention of the audience, but failed to communicate the brand's message that Wendy's beef burgers come with unfrozen beef. So let's look at that ad as well, so that you can get an idea.
Wait a minute. This feels all wrong. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean I have to. Why eat a hamburger made from frozen beef? It'll be all dry instead of fresh and juicy. Frozen hamburger? This is ridiculous.
I deserve a hot, juicy burger. That's right, you heard me. I deserve a hot, juicy burger. And not because I can tear a phone book with my bare hands, no. I deserve a hot, juicy burger because I have a mouth, and it wants one. So do you. And so do you. Hot, juicy burger. Hot, juicy burger. Hot, juicy burger. Hot, juicy burger.
So here also, here as I saw, this man helps to grab the attention of the audience, but it doesn't necessarily communicate about the brand message, where the burgers come with the beef that is unfrozen. So that main message is not clearly communicated. And even if you see at the beginning, you can see that other people are tapping on the trays. Wait, let me show. So there are others are tapping on the trees to symbolize that when these competitors give beef that is frozen. So that is what they are trying to symbolize from this situation where others are tapping on the tree. But that idea doesn't go into the viewer's mind as soon as they see this advertisement, right? So that's why this wasn't a success, because this man helped to grab the attention of the audience, but failed to communicate the brand's core message. Okay. So when it comes to content writing, almost all the digital media platforms come all the digital media platforms come under content writing. That is blogs, then videos, podcasts, then ebooks, then email writing, social media captions. All of that comes under content writing. Okay. So according to research, 73% of B2B marketers and 70% of B2C marketers use content marketing as a part of their overall marketing strategy. Okay. So now let's look at the importance of content writing. Now you all know that when it comes to content writing, it's not only, yes, you need to grab the attention of the audience, but it's not just about grabbing the attention of the audience, but about informing as well. So now let's look at the importance of content writing. Okay. So firstly, it guides the prospects towards the buying journey. That is, for an example, assume that a person wants to go on a vacation. Then what that person would do first is they would decide where they want to go, and then they would go to Google and check the hotels, and then would refer the prices and other details, and then would book the hotel. So that is how a normal person would do. But content creation is when the customer doesn't know whether he or she wants to go on a vacation, or doesn't know where to go on a vacation. So assume that this is during December, during Christmas, and you have that person is having leave also, but still she's not quite sure whether she wants to go on a vacation. But the beauty of content writing is where you have content so that it is so catchy that it drives the customer towards the buying journey. Now, for an example, you say a post like this, which says, welcome, let's say 2025, welcome 2025 with cinnamon. So by seeing something like that, seeing a piece of content like that will guide the prospective buyer towards the buying journey. So that is one major importance of content writing. Okay. Then secondly, content writing also provides the SEO advantage. That is, when the content is well written, Google rewards you by improving your listing on the search list. So higher the rank, more eyeballs you will get. So the keywords are the secret ingredient between your content and the target audience. So by optimizing the correct keywords, you allow Google to connect your content to the search query. Okay, so SEO advantage is another importance of content writing. Then, content writing also helps to convert awareness into sales. It is the most cost-efficient way to generate sales. Okay. So now, let's look at some tips for creating great content. Now we know what is content writing, then we know the importance of content writing. So now let's look at some tips for creating great content. Okay. So first of all, you need to know your target audience. That is, now Nivea is a global brand which is known to be a family brand. So once Nivea was endorsed by Rihanna, and this wasn't really successful because people couldn't find a link between this family brand and Nivea, and people thought that Rihanna is way too sexy for a family brand like Nivea. So it wasn't successful, and then they opted to their normal branding where they were promoting Nivea as a family brand. Okay, here's another example where Shah Rukh Khan endorsed Lux. So this also wasn't successful because people really couldn't find a link between beauty soap and Shah Rukh Khan. But later, Lux opted into various actresses like Katrina Kaif, and that was successful, and that created sufficient brand recall because people could remember the link between the brand and the celebrity. Okay, and recently, as you can see in this first picture in the top, Lux has used actresses from various generations to endorse their brand Lux, which is also a great initiative. Okay, so likewise, it's really important that you know your target audience. Okay, so and also I know that today there are so many youngsters who have their own online page. It can be a buying and selling page, or it can be a jewelry page, or it can be a baking page. I know that there are so many people who are having their own businesses online. So if you are running an online store for costume jewelry, then you should understand that your target audience will be fashion conscious young women. So in that case, your content should cover unique qualities of your jewelry and how it fits into the fashion forward lifestyle. So in that case, you can have content such as unique qualities of your jewelry, then how to style different pieces of jewelry with different outfits, then latest fashion trends, then you can post stories of your customers wearing your jewelry. Then you can have teasers on new arrivals. So likewise, whatever you are doing, it's important that you know your target audience. Another example would be, assume that you want to run an advertisement or an article about a higher education institute. So you are planning to publish this on the newspapers. In that case, you should understand that your target audience would be the parents. So in that situation, you have to curate your content accordingly. But assume that you are promoting the same higher education institute on social media. Then the scenario is different because then your target audience include the prospective students as well. So in that case, you can include content like extracurricular activities conducted in the university, then events conducted at the university. So likewise, it is really important that you know your target audience. Okay? All right. Then Signal is a well-known brand by Unilever. All of y'all know about it. So Signal, through their advertising, they are targeting the entire community through its advertising campaign. That is, they target the kids, then the youngsters, then the elders. That entire community they target. Signal targets through their advertising. So let's have a look at one of their ads to get an idea.
අරුණ පිපෙනා ලෙසින් සිනහා එලි වැටීපා සිනහවෙන් සිනහාමැවේ යන්නේ මග සරතසනිවේ ඒ මුතු සිනාසේනා සිවුදිගින් රැවුනැගේ මුතු දසන්දනි හද හසින්දනි සිනාබෝවේවා එවන් සිනහා මතින් සිරිලක සිනාබෝවේවා
සිනහවෙන් සිනාවකට බෝවෙන්නේ උතුම් සිනාවන් සිග්නල් සුරක්ෂිත කරන්නේ එවන් උතුම් සිනාවන්
So there also that Signal targets the entire community through their advertising campaign. Okay. So in contrary, Close Up is also a brand of Unilever, where Close Up targets the youth through their advertising campaign. Their main target is the youth. So they also conduct this their advertising under this campaign, Break the Barriers. Okay. So let's have a look at one of their ads to see the distinction.
කතාව පටන් ගන්නත් කලින් එන් කරගත්තු කතාවක්. මේ ඉන්නේ ආකාශ්. අපේ ක්ලාස් එකේ ඉන්න සුරාවෙන් සූදුවෙන් තොර අහිංසක ඩාල් එකක්.
Please welcome our new batch of recruits. They'll be facing
ෆ්‍රී කියලා කියන්නේ ආකාශ් මේ විදිහට අහම්බෙන් මුණ ගැවුණු කාටවත් කරදරයක් නැතුව ෆන් එකේ ඉන්න කැරක්ටර් එකක්. ප්ලේන් එකේ එන්ජින් එක ගැන තිබුණු වැදගත්ම පාඩම ඉවර වෙන්නත් කලින් දෙන්නම කාටතොරෙන් ගුවන් ගත වුණා. පොළව මට්ටමේ ඉඳලා අඩිබර ගානක් උඩ ආකාශේ වලාකුළු වලට මුවා වෙලා ටර්බියුලන්ස් වලට වෙට්ටු දැම්මා. දෙන්න පයිලට්ලා උණු දවසට පැසෙන්ජර්ස්ලට දෙයියන්ගෙම පිහිටයි. ෆේස් ටු ෆේස් වචනයක්වත් කතා කරලා නැති දෙන්න නොහිතපු වෙලාවක ෆේස් කරපු ප්‍රොෆයිල් එක නිසා හදිස්සියෙම ගොඩ බාන්න සිද්ධ වුණා. ආකාශට අනුව ෆ්‍රී කියලා කියන්නේ ෆ්‍රීගේ මයින්ඩ් එකේ ආකාශ් කියන්නේ
බේබද්දා. ෂේ බේබද්දා. බේබා.
කතාව පටන් ගන්නත් කලින් එන් කරගත්තේ දෙන්නගේ ප්‍රොෆයිල්ස් වල තිබුණ පික්චර්ස් දැකලා දාගත්තු බැරියර්ස් නිසා කියලා බ්ලැක් බොක්ස් එක ස්කෑන් කරද්දී මාට්ටු උනේ. ෆ්‍රී බලනවා. විනාඩියක්.
බයිට් මරුවා. අදවත් දීපංකෝ බයිට් එක ඉවර කරන්න දුර.
ෆ්‍රීගේ මයින්ඩ් එක ෆ්‍රී වුණා.
Hi.
Hey! This is my brother. My twin brother.
ආකාශ් के ගුවන් පතේ ක්ලියර් වුණා. අපි අරයට.
Okay, so here what they're trying to say is they're targeting the youth mainly through their advertising campaign, and they also highlight in every campaign they highlight that break the barriers concept. So here they are saying that don't make Facebook a barrier. So likewise, while understanding your target audience, you have to be a little creative with your content as well. Okay, so let's have a look at one of the another fine. We'll go to the this thing. So okay, so first one, what you need is you also first you need to know your target audience. Where we looked at multiple examples. So just like how you all saw in those examples, it's important that that you know your target audience. Whatever the content, first thing is that. Okay. Then secondly, you need to do your research. That is, you need to read, read, and read. Well read you are, well you can incorporate your content. Okay. Then third one is to set an outline. So for this purpose, you can use various mechanisms. Either you can use a mind map like what you can see in this image, or you can use a zero draft, or you can just list down the points. So either way, it's important that you have an outline when developing your content. Okay, so this pushes you to put your thoughts in an organized way, and also assume that you are in a rush and you want to draft something quickly. In that case, you won't miss any important points. Then this also speeds up your writing process and gives a better structure to your content. So how you can do this is, how to create an outline is, first you can read similar articles. You can read similar articles, and then you can select 2 to 3 articles which you prefer. Then you can see how they have broken down that article, how they have broken down the main content in that article. Then based on that, what you can do is you can develop your content accordingly. Sorry, you can develop your outline accordingly. Okay. Then our next next tip is to have a magnetic headline and an introduction. So this is also very important. This is also very important. So for this purpose, what you can do is, you just like the outline, you can go through similar articles, and then you can understand how they have chosen the topic. Then you can get an idea, and based on that, you can develop your own topic. Also here, one tip you can do is, you can add keywords. Then by adding keywords, you can make your article more SEO friendly. Okay, and also when selecting on what to write, you can use platforms like Google Trends. It helps you Google Trends helps you to identify what other people are talking about. So let's look at how this Google Trends operate. So this is Google Trends. Now here, assume that I want to check on gaming. Okay, so I just type gaming here. Then here I change it from Sri Lanka, I change it to worldwide. Then here past, I change it to 2004 to present. Then all categories. So then I can see how the interest has changed. So here I can see during December 2022, there has been a spike. So that is because during this time only COVID was there. So during COVID, a lot of people were home and they didn't have things to do. So they were dealing with social isolation. So because of that, a lot of people were driven towards gaming. So that's why there's a spike in that time period. So likewise, through this, you can understand what others are talking about. Okay. So let's go back to our presentation. So that way also you can figure out a headline. Okay. Then you can also use metaphors in your topic. That is, now as you can see in this image, at the door of death, desperation in Ethiopia as hunger crisis deepens. So likewise, you can even use metaphors in your topic. So the magic of a metaphor is that a metaphor helps to communicate an idea which would idea in 5 words, which would otherwise take 5 paragraphs to explain. So that's the beauty, or that's the magic of metaphors. So you can even use metaphors when developing your topic. Okay. If you all have any doubts, feel free to ask me. Then we move into a very important point, that is storytelling. This is a very important area when it comes to content writing, because humans are naturally drawn towards stories. So by using storytelling techniques, you can create an emotional connection with the audience. Storytelling helps to humanize your brand, making it more trustworthy. So Dilma is a brand which has used storytelling to build itself as a brand over the years, and it has effectively done it. If you really look into it, Ceylon tea has a history since British Empire. It has a reputation since British Empire. So Dilma uses that history element in building their brand, or in building their brand. Not just that, they also use their founder, the person you can see in these images. So they use their founder also to create their brand story. From that, they build credibility and trust towards their brand. Okay. Then also they use the tea plugging experience. They inculcate it in their brand story. They inculcate that tea plugging experience in their story. So by adding that, they add that memory and experience into their brand. So likewise, Dilma is a brand which has effectively used storytelling to build itself over the years. Okay. So when you all are free, just go to their website and see how the content is drafted. Then you will understand how they have used storytelling effectively. Okay. So there are various elements of storytelling. There are, first, it includes history, then words, then trust, then memory, experience, audience engagement, language, and sensory elements. So if we take that same example of Dilma, you can understand how Dilma has used almost all these elements in their storytelling, all these elements of storytelling to build their brand. If you look into the history, they use the reputation of Ceylon tea to build their brand. So that's history. Then trust, they use their own to build trust over its brand and build credibility. Then the tea plugging experience brings memory and experience into the brand. Then sensory elements. All of that Dilma has effectively used to build their brand. Okay. So now let's look at what the co-founder of Spa Ceylon, Shalin Balasurya, has to say about storytelling. Okay.
The world is fighting for attention, and in order to get attention, you have to be unique, you have to be authentic, and you have to stand out.
there's one thing that you want to tell this generation of marketers in terms of storytelling, what would that one thing be?
My advice to Sri Lankan storytellers, Sri Lankan brand builders is leverage Sri Lanka. That's what we've done, and that's been the source of our success. The world is fighting for attention, and in order to get attention, you have to be unique, you have to be authentic, and you have to stand out. The world is yet to properly discover this beautiful island home of ours. We've got culture, we've got colors, we've got ingredients, we've got stories, and tons of them that we have not leveraged as brands, as human beings, as Sri Lankans. Use it. Use this ground we're standing on, because there are so many authentic stories to tell. So use the fact you're Sri Lankan. That's why I'm saying it right into the camera. That's your biggest advantage.
Yeah.
We need people who understand emotion, people who understand how to tell stories, tonality, how you can draw those pictures up, what are the emotional points of it, how to accentuate those points.
What does it mean to be a storyteller in a world where AI, smartphones, and closed platforms are your main distribution mediums? And how do you really leverage on this?
Look, I think AI is fantastic as a starting point. And I think anytime you talk about AI or tech, you have to say the word as of now, right? As of now, today's date, AI is a really good starting point, really good brainstorming point, really good initial artwork kind of point, just to get your ideas in place. It can save you anything from days to months to get there to start with. You wouldn't want to rely on AI right now as your end product, because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, storytelling is about creating pictures in people's heads, about emotionally activating people.
Yeah.
AI is not good at emotion yet. So till such time, we need people who understand emotion, people who understand how to tell stories, tonality, how you can draw those pictures up, what are the emotional points of it, how to accentuate those points. Those coming together is what brings the humanity into it. So use AI, but don't lose people yet.
Okay, so this was actually this was a panel discussion which was done with the co-founder of Sparsilon. So I would encourage you all to take time to check on the full video on YouTube. There are 3 iconic people in that video. So just go through that. It will be very helpful for you all to get an idea. So my point is, now we all have some kind of an idea on storytelling. We talked about the elements of storytelling. Then we discussed how Dilma has used it effectively. Then we saw what the co-founder of Sparsilon has to say about this. So assume that you all have your own brand. You all can have your own, even if it's a small brand, you all can have your own brand. So in that case, you can use this storytelling aspect to write your brand story in your website or your social media platforms. Okay, so but storytelling is not only used there. It can be also used when you're drafting a blog article, a press release. There also storytelling comes into play, especially in the introductory paragraph. Okay. So use snake in storytelling structure. So what is meant by this snake in storytelling structure? So this can be used especially when you inculcate storytelling into your blogs and press releases. There in your introductory paragraph, you can include the snake in storytelling structure. That is where you start with an inciting incident or the conflict or the problem. You start with that inciting incident and then slowly move into act. That is what is meant by snake in storytelling structure. Okay. So let's look at an example so that we can get a better idea. So American Medical Association is the largest professional association representing physicians and medical students in United States. It acts as an advocate for public health issues on a national level. So this is how they have embedded storytelling into one of their articles. When I was out in Iowa during an AMA National House Call trip, AMA refers to American Medical Association, I met a man who had just turned 62. He said to me, "Doctor, I lost my job to a young man when I was 59, and I lost my health coverage. Now I have a lung tumor, and I have to decide whether to spend my resources on radiation and chemotherapy or buy an extra year buy an extra year of life, or whether to forego treatments now and leave something for my wife." In the end, he decided to end the treatment so his wife would have a roof over her head once he was gone. So here you can see they talk about that inciting incident or the problem or the conflict at the beginning, where they say that this man lost the job, then he got a tumor, and now he doesn't have money. Now he's wondering whether to take treatment or to focus on his wife to have a roof on her head once he's gone. So that entire inciting incident they are talking at the beginning. They don't say anything about AMA. They only talk about this inciting incident. And then only AMA comes into play. It says there has to be a better way. And the AMA is fighting to find that way. Advocating on behalf of patients' rights, advocating for a meaningful Medicare reform, advocating for serious retooling of healthcare system in his entirety. So you can say at first, they create this entire inciting incident, and then they make the AMA the hero. Then they say how AMA has is fighting to find a way to solve these issues. So that is what is meant by snake in storytelling structure, where you create an inciting incident and then slowly move into act. And not just that, you can even see that in this entire thing, there are conversations and there are characters. You can see there's a doctor, there's a man, there's a wife. There are characters in it, and there are conversation. So those are also elements of storytelling. So they have, by adding those elements into your content, you can make your content even more interesting. So this can be especially used when you're drafting blogs or press releases. Okay? Sell the problem and offer the solution. So this is not similar to what we talked before. That is the snake in storytelling structure. So now assume that you are promoting a product through your blog. Then first of all, you need to create a problem and you need to highlight the problem consumers face. And then you can provide the solution as to how your product can solve this problem and how your product can help the consumers to overcome the problem. So that you need to highlight in your blog or press release. Then you create a sense of urgency and desire, which in turn can make the audience more likely to take the action, that is, to buy the product. So you have to create a problem and then provide the solution. Okay? So let's look at an example. Now this is an article. Okay. So this is an article written during COVID. So here you can see pens, papers, classroom. No, this year's key supply for the university is a laptop. Then there's a COVID-19 pandemic led to closing of universities, forcing the students to turn to online education as an alternative solution to overcome their higher education. So here they are saying COVID became a problem, and because of COVID, people had to move into online education, and that entire problem is brought here. Then they are saying, however, this sudden shift brought multiple challenges. Some students had family computers that are too old to run the new software which required for online education. Some students also struggled to do their assignments through their mobile phones. And many students often face the concern of having just one computer at home, which is being used by multiple family members. Example, parents for remote working and younger siblings for online schooling. Under the light of this, a dire need arose for laptops. So here you can see at the beginning, the author creates that problem. She's trying to say that how COVID changed the education system, where it's not pens, papers anymore, it's a laptop. And then she's saying how people struggled because there wasn't enough laptops at home for everybody, and all that. The entire problem is being discussed here. And after that only they are saying how this organization has got together and provided laptops for these students to carry on their educational activities. So that is the snake in storytelling structure, where you create the inciting incident and then slowly move into action. Or that is also the problem where you create a problem and then offer the solution. Okay, so let's look at another example. Okay. So this was also written during COVID. So this is even I told y'all before that during COVID, there was a high demand for gaming. So that's the basis of this article. So let's read and see. Consumer lifestyle underwent a rapid transition over the years due to the spread of COVID-19 virus. Since majority of the people were home and weren't socializing, boredom started to rise, which led to people seeking new hobbies to keep themselves entertained. With the light of this, there was a boom in the gaming industry, with many people turning to gaming for stress relief, entertainment, and social connection. As a result, there was a spike in demand for gaming laptops. So here you can see how the inciting incident is there. The problem is there, how COVID made people socially isolated, where people didn't have things to do. So they were seeking for new hobbies. So under the light of that, gaming came into play, and then gaming laptops came into play. Then they are saying how this organization respond to the sudden shifts in consumer behavior by producing a high-performing laptop. Then they talk about all the details of the laptop and performance and all of that. Okay. So at the beginning, you create that problem or the inciting incident. So that is what is meant by snake in storytelling structure. Okay. Or you can even say sell the problem and offer the solution. So are we clear about this snake in storytelling structure, or about this creating a problem and offering a solution? Do y'all have any doubts here? Because this is really important when drafting blogs and press releases. Okay. Then we'll go ahead. So our next tip for content writing is sensory details. Okay, so this is also a very important element when drafting content. So here I'll give you all a small activity so that you all also feel occupied. So, what I'll do is I'll give you all 2 paragraphs. What you all have to do is I will give you all around 5 minutes, You all have to read the two paragraphs and tell me what's the difference between two paragraphs. Just say what's the difference between two paragraphs and which paragraph do you think better communicates the idea. Okay? So this is the first paragraph and this is the second paragraph. I'll give you all few minutes. You all can use the chat box or you can even unmute yourselves and let me know. Okay, can we tell what's the difference between the two paragraphs? Any of y'all would like to share? Okay. So here, both the texts reveal the same information. But the second paragraph has more sensory details embedded in it to grab the attention of the audience. So if you can see clearly that there are words highlighted in yellow, right? So through the sensory element, it helps to grab the attention of the audience. These words like dragged, heavy gunny bag, then sun-baked street, good looking, decent clothes, exhausted and drained, panting and breathless, bewildered. So likewise, by using these sensory details, it helps to grab the attention of the audience. So sensory details refer to what we see, hear, taste, or smell. These sensory details helps us to feel something without experiencing it. Okay, so that's the beauty of sensory details, where even without experiencing that, you feel it after reading it. Okay, so that is why we have to inculcate sensory details in our writing. All right. So when it comes to sensory details, there are different elements in it. So first one is visual. That is what we see. So human brain processes visual information faster than text. And by using visually appealing images or videos, you can evoke emotions and create a memorable experience. Then auditory refers to what we hear. That is, now if I remind you all about that Halia song, then you all will quickly remember the tune of that song, right? So that is auditory. So that is auditory. Then when it comes to tactile means what we touch or feel. This is related to our skin. That is, if I say I have a burning sensation, then that comes under tactile. Then gustatory refers to what we taste, and olfactory refers to what we smell. Okay? So what you can do is you can use these elements to curate your content in an interesting way. So sparsing on is a very good example to explain how sensory details have been effectively embedded in its content to grab the attention. If you look into it, it's not just in their writing. In their entire brand, they have inculcated that sensory element into it. Okay? So that's the other tip, where you have to inculcate the sensory elements into your content. Okay? Then our next tip is to use concrete details, that is, stats and illustrations. This helps you to make your content more credible. However, when you do that, make sure that you get your content from credible sources. That is, for an example, if you're drafting a blog on a tourist attraction, you can include stats on tourist arrivals, something like that. So in that case, you have to make sure that you get that stats from a credible source. Maybe you can refer to reports from Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority. So likewise, you can include stats, but make sure that you get those content from credible sources. I mean, there are so many blogs also, so you can read those blogs. It's very interesting to read blog articles, and it's also very clear and very informative. So it's all right to read them. But when it comes to stats, always avoid blogs and always refer to content in credible sources like reports. Okay? All right. So now let's look at an example on how these stats have been embedded into content. Okay? So this is a report written on an introduction of a new smartphone to Sri Lankan market. So here you can see it says Figure 2 depicts the mobile vendor market share in Sri Lanka with Samsung and Huawei showing the highest market share, and Figure 3 suggests 91% of Sri Lankans using Android phones to access internet, suggesting competition is fierce in Android segment. So likewise, you can inculcate stats into your content. It's not just about having an illustration. It's nice to have a graph like this, which you can see. A graph like this showing the sequence, but it's not just about having an illustration or a graph. You need to explain it in your content. You have to inculcate those stats into your content, just like you can see how it has been done here. Let's look at another example. Now here also, if you check this the text highlighted, you can see how they have inculcated stats into their content. So that is what is important, not just having a graph or a diagram, but you include that into your content and say what is interpreted from that graph. Okay, so that is content writing. So just take a few minutes to read this text highlighted in yellow, then you will get an idea. Okay. All right. Then our next step is the language element. That is the SPAG. This refers to spelling, punctuation, and grammar. This is also a very important element because assume that you find a piece of writing where there are so many grammar errors, so many spelling errors, there's no flow in it. Then would you really want to waste your time reading it? No, right? We don't. That is the normal human behavior. But if you find a piece of content where the flow is nice, there's punctuations, then there are no grammar or spelling errors, then you feel like reading it from the beginning to end. So that is the importance of this SPAC element. That's the importance of this SPAC element. Also assume that you are a marketing executive and you are the person who you are the one who will be drafting content to the corporate website, then for the social media platforms. In that case, if you are the person who is handling it, and if there are spelling and grammar mistakes, it's not just the internal people who access this material, right? Even the outsiders check out these messages. And if there are spelling errors, grammar errors, punctuation errors, then it can affect the reputation of your organization as well. So that is why this is really important, where you have to give enough priority towards this language element. Okay. Then our next point is to avoid plagiarism. This, of course, I'm sure you all must have heard enough. And even in that video I showed you all before of the co-founder of Sparsilon, he clearly explained on how to use AI effectively, right? So that's why now today there are so many platforms like ChatGPT, but do not copy what it provides. It can be used to fast forward your writing. For an example, if you want to get an outline on what areas need to be covered, then you can use ChatGPT. Also, you can use ChatGPT to inquire for some articles to read related to your topic. So likewise, for those aspects, you can use ChatGPT. But always make sure that you are being very careful when using ChatGPT. Okay. Another element where you can avoid plagiarism is where you can paraphrase the content. That is, you get certain piece of content and then you can paraphrase it. Then it won't be plagiarized. So it's nothing so difficult. So there are so many platforms also. Let me take you all through. Yeah, here. Yeah, no, let's. Yeah, so there's this tool called Quillbit, which you can use. You can use for this purpose of paraphrasing. So here you can see, you can, okay, so here, let's say Sri Lanka. Let's say Sri Lanka is a beautiful island, silent nation. It has color, traditions, culture, and natural beauty. Let's say we have written something like this. Sri Lanka is a beautiful nation. It has color, traditions, culture, and natural beauty. Okay. So we want to paraphrase it. What you have to do is you can paraphrase like this. Then here it It comes like this. Okay, and even there are synonyms. Here, you can use synonyms. Beautiful, stunning. So likewise, you can even change it. So that's why you be smart. It's all right to use platforms to paraphrase and things like that, but make sure you're being smart where there's a flow in it, in your content. You can fast forward your writing, but make sure you use it in a smart way. And there's this grammar checker, AI detector. So it's okay to use these tools, but don't let the essence of your content get affected through these platforms. Okay, so that is the 7th point. Then we come into the 8th point, that is the social proof or the poster person. This is also very important. This social proof is a psychological element where people believe that actions of others reflect the correct behavior for a given situation. That is, now assume you see somebody doing something, then we tend to believe that it is the correct way to do that. So that is psychological behavior. Okay, so testimonials and reviews are kind of social proof, which helps to enhance credibility into your content. So if you're drafting a blog or something, it's always great to add social proof, add testimonials, add testimonials, add reviews. Okay. So let's assume that you're drafting a blog. Now you're a content writer for an organization, and you're drafting a blog on a CSR project, then about receiving an award or about a company event, so anything like that. In that case, you can add a testimonial from the managing director or the senior management. By adding a testimonial there, what you do is you add more credibility into your content. So the testimonial acts as social proof or the poster person, adding more credibility into your content. Okay, so let's look at an example. Okay, so this is a blog written by Haley's Advantage about the cycle parade, which was done by Haley's Advantage. All right. So here they talk about the event, all the details, how it went. Then here, just read this and read this paragraph out, the one I have highlighted. Just take a few minutes and read it out. Okay. So you can see here, they have added a testimonial from the managing director of Haley's Advantage, Ruan Vaidiratna. So by adding this testimonial, they add more credibility into the blog article. So that is what is important. You can add social proof to add more credibility into your content. Okay. All right. Then this is a very important thing, but we don't consider this to be important, but this is really important when it comes to content writing. That is, when developing your content, focus on making your content bold, italic, underlining, then you can use different colors. Likewise, just make your content more appealing. Then only a person would want to read that piece of content. And also have nice images, clear images. Don't have blurred images. Then you don't really feel like reading it. So have nice images and make it more appealing. You can also use bullet points in your, if you're drafting a blog, you can have bullet points and subheadings. By having subheadings and bullet points, what happens is it makes your content more SEO friendly. So that is also great. So that is also an area that you can focus on, where when drafting blogs, you can have subheadings and bullet points. Okay. Then we come into our last point, that is proofread and edit. This is also important for your content, because assume that you draft your content today, you draft a blog today, and tomorrow when you read it, you might not find any fault in it. You feel like everything is all right, the flow is all right, grammar is all right, you feel like everything is all right. But just leave it for like 5 days and then go back to it. Then start reading it again. And then you will find errors in the flow, then errors, grammar errors, spelling errors, the connectivity of words. You will find a lot of errors there. So likewise, that's one technique you can use. You write it and then keep it for a few days and then reread it and then edit it. Okay. Also, you can look for typos and spelling errors by reading your text backwards. When you read something backwards, you can identify spelling and typos very easily. Also, I would highly recommend you all, when it comes to your final proofread, no matter what, always take a printed hand copy. When it's in your hand, then you can quickly identify errors, especially when it comes to typos and spelling. So for your final proofread, get a printout and proofread it. Okay, so now we discussed 10 tips on how to develop killer content. So content writing is like playing Mario. I don't know whether y'all have played Mario. So if y'all remember, in Mario, Mario was quite a popular game back in the days, and also it's like playing this game using this handheld device. I don't know whether this was there during your generation, because when we were small, we had this. So my point is, if you're playing Mario, you have to use various keys, right? To jump, you have to use one key. Then to run, you have to use one key. So at certain times, it's important that you use multiple keys. So content writing is also like that. You have to find the correct combination of tips. We discussed 10 tips. So you have to use these tips in order to make your content more appealing. So in order to do that, you have to practice more. The practice makes perfect. So more you practice, your content will be more appealing. Okay. So I hope all of y'all have heard about J.K. Rowling. So she's somebody who has gone through a lot, and then she was able to become one of the best-selling authors. So let's look at her story.
The most traumatizing moment in Rowling's life was the day her mother died. She was 25 at the time. The death of her mother shattered her completely. This happened 6 months after she began writing Harry Potter, and she was sorry that her mother never knew that she was writing it. After the death of her mother, she moved to Portugal in 1992 and got married. Soon she gave birth to a daughter, Jessica. But things became worse. Sadly, her marriage didn't last long. and only after 13 months she divorced him and moved to Edinburgh with her daughter and the first 3 chapters of Harry Potter. She was forced to rely on state benefits and spent much of her time writing Harry Potter in cafes, with Jessica sleeping in the prom next to her. An exceptionally short-lived marriage had imploded, and I was jobless, a lone parent, and as poor as possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. By every usual standard, I was the biggest failure I knew. Rowling fell into a deep depression and admits she even considered suicide. So, how her life changed? Because she was so poor she couldn't afford a computer or even the cost of photocopying the 90,000-word novel, so she manually typed each version to send to publishers. After sending her manuscript to 12 different publishers and getting rejected by every single one, Rowling began losing confidence in her book. Finally, the publishing house in London, Bloomsbury, a small London publisher, gave it a second chance after the CEO's 8-year-old daughter fell in love with it. Her books has since sold more than 450 million copies, won innumerable awards, been made into movies, and completely transformed Rowling's life. In 2011, Forbes estimated Rowling to be worth about $1 billion. She remains on its list of the world's most powerful celebrities and top-earning authors. J.K. Rowling went from being a jobless single mother to one of the best-selling authors of all time. But it didn't happen overnight. She faced rejections and constantly strived for success. She worked hard at her craft before anyone noticed her. If you have a dream or a passion and you just keep getting rejected or running into failure, don't let that stop you. If you're going through a tough time in your life, but working in something you really believe in, don't give up. Who knows, you might end up breaking records. So, what's your story?
Okay, so you all saw that. You all saw the J.K. Rowling story. So you all saw from the video that it's your willpower, resilience, and practice that makes you a great writer. Okay, so the more you write, more you can improve yourselves. Okay, so now let's practice. Let's do a practice log where okay. So this is a blog written by a tourist called Maria. So what I'll do is I'll share this link with y'all in the chat box and give y'all around 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. I want y'all to read this. Okay, I want y'all to read this and share with me the tips they have used. Now we discussed 10 tips. So I want you all to share the tips they have, tips this person has used in her content. And if you all have further recommendations on how this piece of content would have been better, then share that also with me. You can unmute yourselves and let me know, or you can even use the chat. 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, are all done? Any of y'all would like to share your answers with me? Okay, so because of the limited time frame, I'll go through this. So here you can see this is about Sigiriya. This was written by a tourist called Maria. So here you can see in the topic itself, we talked about a magnetic headline. So here the topic itself, she has used the metaphor, the lion rock, to explain Sigiriya. Then she has used a nice imagery. I told you all about the formatting and that it needs to be appealing. So yeah, she has done it. Then here in the opening paragraph, you can see how storytelling has been used in snake in storytelling structure, where Maria explains how they weren't interested in watching the Sigiri rock at first because the truck drivers insisted way too much, where she says, how fab can a huge rock be? But then finally, they have decided to visit the Sigrid rock, and she explains what a great decision it is. She says, and we don't regret it. Wow, what a rock. And see that snake in storytelling structure where she creates the inciting incident where she wasn't interested because of the two drivers, but later they were happy about the decision. Snake in storytelling structure. Then she speaks about the history of the rock. It is 200 meters high, then about King Kashyapa, then a little bit of history. So we learned under elements of storytelling that history is one element. So here you can see how she has embedded that. She even uses keywords like UNESCO World Heritage Site, which adds more credibility into her content. Then she moves on, and here she says, it's a lovely place to sit and listen to the songs of birds and gentle sounds of water. So that is the sensory element which we discussed. So here she has included the sensory element. Then she had added a little bit of humor. Here it says, Power Praharayakati no selvi sansunu sitin. She says, funny sign on the way up. I doubt that I will be able to keep still and quiet if a swarm of hornets attack me. Help. So that's kind of true. So she has added humor also into her content very nicely. Then she keeps on explaining about the attractions. You can see how the imagery is used nicely. And then uh, but it's much cooler to picture an enormous palace with gold and jewels being up here once upon a time. So when you read it, you feel like you are there. You feel like you're on top of the secret rock. So that is engagement. So she has added audience engagement. So likewise, Maria has done a wonderful job with this blog. So further, just as a recommendation, I would say it would have been even more better if she added some stats about tourist arrivals. Even if she could have added some reviews. True enough, this itself acts as a review. But further, if she could have added some more social proof into her content, it would have been even more better. Okay. So now we did a practice exercise as well. So I think now you all have a better idea on how to draft blogs and how to use. We discuss several tips on how to use it. So let's quickly go through a summary on how to use these techniques. Okay. So before starting to write, you need to know your target audience that we discussed with multiple examples about Signal, how Close Up has done it, then Nivea about that being a family brand and not reaching the right target audience. So likewise, you first need to know your target audience. Then you need to do your research. That is, you need to read, and read. Then only you will know what to write. Okay. Then you have to have an outline. You can have a mind map or a pseudo draft or just list down the points. You should have an outline. Before starting to write, you should have these things sorted. Then when you're drafting the blog, you have to focus on these elements. First of all, you need to have a magnetic headline that we discussed, that you can have even SEO keywords there. Then you can have metaphors there. You have to have a very catchy headline. Then it has to be appealing, that is visuals, formatting, that aspect. Then storytelling at the introduction, snake in storytelling structure, or create a problem. You saw how Maria has done it. How in that gaming laptop, how I talked about the how people were dealing with social isolation, people didn't have things to do, people were looking for new hobbies. That way, a problem was created. And even in that KDU incident where the laptops were given to students, there are also how COVID-19 changed the entire education system. What's the problem people faced? Likewise, you have to have this, then that AMA incident we discussed, how they have nicely added conversations also into the content to make it more exciting. So that is snake in storytelling structure in the introductory paragraph. Then when writing the content, you have to focus on spelling, punctuation, and grammar. Then the flow of your content, where we feel like reading it from the beginning towards the end. Then the SEO optimization, where you can include keywords, then subheadings, then bullet points, likewise. Then you can have sensory details where appropriate. You saw how Maria has done it, how Maria has included the songs of the birds, sound of the waters. So likewise. Then you can add statistics and illustrations to add more credibility. Then you can have social proof or a poster person, which this includes testimonials and likewise. And then finally, you can have your words concluding your blog. Okay. So I think now we are clear on how to draft a blog. We discussed several tips. Now we are clear on how to use these tips effectively when drafting a blog. With that, we come into our second aspect of today's session, that is email etiquettes. This, of course, I'm sure you all are quite familiar with, so I'll quickly run through this. So there's no formula for a perfect emailing. Authentic, honest messaging works. So this is the basic elements of an email. To is whom we want to send the email. CC is if you are sending a mail and you want to keep your superior informed, then it will be CC. Then blind copy, BCC, means if you're sending the same email to Anne and Jane, and you don't want Anne to know that Jane received the same email and Jane to know that Anne received the same email, in that case you can use BCC. So this can be used when you're sending a product promotion or a company event, then you can use BCC. Subject is like the topic, then greetings from the organization, that is the greeting. Then dear Hirnika, that is the salutation. You can say dear or hi. Then you can have an email sign off. Here it says warm regards. So likewise, you can have an email sign off. Then finally the signature. Now let's move into the best practices. So first of all, you need to include call to action in your subject line. That is, you need to exactly say what you need the recipient to do. That is, rather than just saying action required, feedback or project X. Rather than that, you can say 5 minutes, survey feedback for project X. Then the person knows what needs to be done. Then spending estimates for quarter 4. If you send an email like this will be ignored because nobody knows what needs to be done. But you can say Elon to approve spending estimates for quarter 4. Then it has call to action, so the person knows what needs to be done. Then you need to have a polite salutation. That is, if your relationship with the reader is formal, you can say, Dear Lillian. If the relationship is more casual, that is, maybe your colleague in the same team, in that case, you can say, Hi, Kelly. Okay, then you need to thank the recipient. That is, if you are replying to a client's inquiry, you should begin with a line of thank you. You can say, thank you for contacting ABC company. If someone has replied to one of your emails, you can say, thank you for your prompt response. Thank you for getting back to me. Likewise, thank the recipient. Then have one email thread per topic. This is very important. Now assume that you're organizing an event and you're coordinating with the photographer. In that case, you have several stages where at first you ask for the price of the photographer. Then you you confirm the date, and then you share the agenda. Then after that, he attends the event, then he shares the photographs. Then after that, you all make the payment, and then they'll share the receipt. So all of that happens. So all of that have under one email thread. Rather than opening a new email for everything, have everything under one email thread. That helps everyone. Then address the point immediately. Don't don't just explain other details. Just come to the point straight. Now see here, this is a paragraph where you just read this out. So here you say all the details. Rather than that, you can have it addressed this way. Hi Jane, may I please trouble you for the electric car revenue projection numbers? Then context, then you explain the entire story. So that's what you can do. You don't need to say, hi Jane, my name is this, I'm from product marketing team. You don't need all of that details. First come into the point and then have the context. Okay. Then use standard fonts, email sign-offs, which I explained earlier also, yours sincerely, best regards, warm regards, that is important. Then manage the recipients. This is also very important. That is, when you add or take out a recipient in an email thread, just mention why you added or remove that person. A professional way to do that is you can add a sentence. Now, for an example, you can say, dear team, I am adding Anne from the finance department who would help with the financials going forward. Or you can have a line saying, dear team, I will be omitting Jane from this email correspondence in organizing this event because she is occupied with administration duties. So likewise, just have one sentence at the top of the mail, clearly showing whom you're adding or taking out. Then you need to do spelling and grammar check. This is also very important because sometimes you might think that the mail just goes to the superior, but sometimes superior might share your email with somebody outside the organization. So in that case, if there's a spelling or grammar error, it can be detrimental to your organization. So that's why you have to focus on that. Then finally, you can close with contact information. Okay, so now let's practice. Let's see how to write a car letter. Okay, so this is how you can write it. Okay, so here you can see at the beginning you say, I'm interested about this job. I believe that my experience match with the responsibilities of this job. I'm enthusiastic to submit my application. All of that you said in the first paragraph. Then you say, my most recent position was at Cinnamon Hotels where I was an intern. Additionally, I recently participated in the Trinco Blue Regatta. So here you can have your star, like whatever your academic qualification or experience, your star you can have. Don't include everything because you're adding your resume as well. No? So here what you can do is you can have your star, the most important point you can have here. Then you can say, I'm sending in my resume. Looking forward to hear from you. Then best regards or whatever. Then your name. Okay, so this is how you can write a car letter. Then email to schedule a meeting. That you can say like this. Thanks. I told you I always thank the person. So here you say, thanks for getting in touch with us about our product. I'll be glad to set up a meeting in order to discuss more information and answer your questions. Does 9th October at 11 a.m. work? So you see how polite it is. You can't say, let's fix it on 9th October. You have to be very polite. Does 9th October at 11 a.m. works for you? So that's how you can draft it. All right. Then this is for a proposal submission. That is, now assume that an organization wants their website to be revamped. So they ask certain organization to go through their website and come back to them with a proposal on how the revamping can be done. So here it can be written this way. Dear Bhumi, please find the enclosed to this email the proposal you requested regarding your website audit. We hope that you will find this helpful and insightful and that it meets your expectations. Of course, we would like to make adjustments going forward. Feel free to let us know and we'll be happy to discuss with you. See, the tone of voice is very enthusiastic, very pleasant. That is important. Okay. Then here again, best regards, that is important, and your email signature. Okay. And here again, you are an executive of ABC company. Danuka from RGB Advertising has sent an invoice dated to a wrong date for a hoarding branding. Write an email requesting Danuka to send the revised invoice with the correct date. Now the date has been wrong. So you have to write and ask them to send the correct date. So this is how you can write. See how politely it is written. Okay. All right. So with that, we come into the end of that email section. That is not a comprehensive section, but you have to be aware. You have to be aware on being polite, and you have to focus on those etiquettes we discussed when drafting emails. And then we come into our last section. This is kind of interesting. So that is creative content creation for social media. Okay. So social media creation is the process of producing written content, photography, videos, or graphics for various social media platforms. So content creation is really the core of all social media platforms, but different platforms require different strategies. That is, for an example, what you post on LinkedIn, you can't post on Facebook and Instagram. So likewise, you need to know exactly what needs to go in what platform. Okay. So when it comes to social media content creation, there are a few elements you have to focus on. First, the purpose, then content types, then the audience, then strategic planning, visuals, then engaging captions. Okay, so it is always wise to make a content calendar for the next year at the end, for the next month at the end of this month. Then that way you can keep your content organized. Then you know exactly what needs to be posted and all the areas of content will be covered. Okay. Now let's look at various content pillars that you can include for your social media page, or if you are managing the social media page of your organization, then let's look at what are the content pillars you can include. Okay. So first of all, you need to have product promotions. That is because at the end of the day, we need to drive sales from our social media platforms, right? So for that, you need to focus on product promotions. But when it comes to this, it's not just about having your product and then just saying the price of it and then product name. That is not how you have to do it. What you have to do is you have to connect the product to the key lifestyle needs of the target audience. That is how you have to promote your product. It's not about just having your product rupees this amount and the product name. No, that is not the right way. You have to connect it to the key lifestyle need of the audience. Now, for an example, assume that you are assume that you are promoting a smartphone, a newly launched smartphone, where the key aspect of that smartphone is its ability to take nice pictures. So in that case, you can connect that aspect to the key lifestyle need of the target audience. See these images, so the aspect of getting pictures while connecting it to the key lifestyle need of the audience. This is a birthday, and this is how lighting at night, the for quality of the photo, those aspects are covered, but they are mainly targeting the key lifestyle need. Okay. So this is how Maliban has done it. You see how they have connected the product to the key lifestyle need. Okay. Then here are some more pictures or where they have connected it to the key lifestyle need of the customer. Of course, they are trying to drive sales from this, but they are nicely connecting the product to the need. Okay. Then if you have a range of products, that is under your brand, if you have a range of products, then you can develop content to distinguish each product. Look at these two images. Okay. Then you can also have partner promotions. That is, you can have partner promotions with an online store like Zara's, your store. That way also you can drive more sales into your social media pages. That also counts under product promotions. Okay. Then our next content pillar is observances. That is, you can incorporate the product to the special festivities in the country. That way, you can make the product an integral part of the Sri Lankan culture. That is, if we take the same example of SAM21 phone, then you can see how you can look at these images, then you can see how they have connected it to the festivities of the country. That way, it becomes a part of the Sri Lankan culture. Okay, so that is also something you can do. And here are some more examples. Now see, you can even change your profile picture and car photo during the season. Now the picture you can see towards the right, that was the profile picture of Malibu during the Christmas season. So likewise, you can even change your profile picture and car photo for the season, but make sure you don't just kill the essence of the brand. That is, if you're changing the car photo for Christmas, don't just have a Santa Claus or a Christmas tree. Just make sure you have the brand visibility. Now see, even this picture towards the left, it's about Christmas and you can see the Christmas spirit, but the product visibility is there. So always make sure that is there. Okay. Then you can even connect the product to the Sri Lankan culture through posts like this. However, here also, whenever possible, make the product visible. Now, even in the picture towards your right, you can see that the product visibility is there. That is important. Okay. Here are some more examples where you can see how they are nicely connecting the product to the Sri Lankan culture. Okay. Then our next content pillar is Game On. That is, through Game On, you can create engagement and showcase the product in a fun and cheery manner, enhancing visibility. So if we take the same product of SAM21, you can have a post like this to create engagement. But here also you can see how the product is there. It makes the mind more familiar towards the product. Okay. Then here's how Manchi has done it. They create engagement, but visibility is there. The next content pillar is life hacks. Life hacks can elaborate how fans can be benefited from the product in daily life. That is, if we take the same product, SAM21, I told you that the main feature we are highlighting is the photography aspect. Then you can have posts like how to get a clean, simple, stunning foodie shot. Simply use natural sunlight and remove any unnecessary items before taking the picture. So you can have content like this to say how the fans can be benefited from the product in the daily life. That is, assume that you are promoting laptops, you are working for an organization that produce laptops. In that case, you can have content like keyboard shortcuts, or you can have content like how to minimize eye strain when using the laptop for a long period of time. So you can have content like that where the product visibility is also there, and you say how the product benefits. Okay. Then our next content pillar is Inspire Mondays. This focuses on being personal with the fans. The content will be fun and inspiring, bringing more visibility into your brand. So this is the whole purpose, is to create engagement. Okay? So you can have posts like this. Then we are moving into our next content pillar, that is giveaways. This, of course, I'm sure all of y'all must have heard about it. Y'all have seen this giveaways, snap and win, share and win. There are so many giveaways. So the main focus of this is to attract more fans into your social media platforms. Okay. All right. Then, in addition to the content pillars we discussed, you can also include company updates in your social media pages. But here this is very important because all the content pillars we discussed before can be used mainly on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and likewise. But when it comes to company updates, you can even use LinkedIn to post these kind of posts, because we generally don't post uh, product promotions and engagement related posts on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a professional platform. So we generally, what we post on LinkedIn would be the awards, recognitions, then CSR projects. So those kind of content only we generally post on LinkedIn. Okay. So here, this content pillar, you can even use on this content pillar, you can even use it on LinkedIn. Okay. Content like awards, recognitions, CSR projects, likewise. So here are some types of content that is generally posted on LinkedIn. So I told you before, on LinkedIn, we don't post any product promotions and things like that. We post informative posts like this, communicating about the company updates. Okay. Okay. So now we discussed on various content pillars that you can include when you're managing your social media pages. Okay. So you can have a content calendar at the end of each month for the next month, covering all these content pillars. But in addition to this, there are some more aspects that you can focus on. focus on to enhance reach, engagement, and returns from your social media pages. There are celebrity endorsement, then influencers, then reshare tagged posts by consumers, then short video posts, then polls like which biscuit do you like the most. Also, like I'm sure you all must have seen for clothing brands, there's the same model wearing different outfits, and they ask which one is the best. So those are called polls. Then you can have quick replies for your inquiries. By using these mechanisms, you can increase your reach, engagement, and returns. Okay. So when it comes to social media, another important aspect that I want to highlight is that, as I mentioned earlier also, when it comes to different platforms, different content has to be posted, because when it comes to TikTok, people generally don't buy from TikTok. It only creates awareness. People just check things on TikTok, but people don't buy on TikTok. So you have to develop your content accordingly. But Instagram, people generally tend to buy a lot on Instagram. So, and even it has been developed accordingly. The dynamics are developed accordingly for people to buy. So in that case, you have to develop content to fix that need. Then YouTube is mainly for loyalty related. So then your content has to be developed accordingly. Then Facebook, I would say, people who are mostly above 30 or that age gap would be using Facebook. So you have to curate your content accordingly. Then when it comes to LinkedIn, it is a professional platform. So there you can't include product posts and engagement. There you have to include company updates and things like that. So likewise, it's important that you distinguish each platform and curate content accordingly. Okay. So with that, we come into our conclusion. So we had a very productive session today, where we first learned about what is content writing, and we learned that it is not only about grabbing the attention of the audience, where we saw that namak gamak danna manusek, and then we saw that the Wendy's advertisement with that man with the red wacky ponytail, there we learned that even though it attracts the audience, it doesn't really communicate the message. So when it comes to content writing, we should avoid it, where we should attract the attention of the audience, as well as we need to inform the audience. Okay. Then we discussed about the Michelin Guide, where how they built a global brand by developing a comprehensive guide called Michelin Guide. Okay, so likewise, we again discussed the importance of informing through content writing. Then we learned that almost all digital media platforms come under content writing, that is social media, email, blogs, all of that, videos, podcasts, all of that comes under comes under content writing. Then we learned the importance of content writing. We learned how content writing helps in the buyer journey. Then we learned how it helps for SEO optimization. Then we learned that it is the most cost efficient way to generate sales. Then we learned on 10 important tips for content writing, where we discussed on how to create an outline. Then we need to do our research. Then you have to use various techniques like storytelling, then embedded sensory details. We talked about the snake in storytelling structure, where we took multiple examples. Then we talked about the importance of focusing on the SPAC, that is spelling, punctuation, and grammar. Then we talked about the importance of formatting and the appealing aspect of it by using imagery. Then we discussed about the importance of having social proof as testimonials. So we discussed 10 important tips, and we learned that content writing is like playing Mario, where we need to have the correct combination of tips. Okay. Then we discussed in detail about the email etiquettes and what we need to follow. And then we did some practice exercises. Then finally, we learned about the content that needs to be covered on social media platforms. Okay, so I hope you all had a productive session today on content creation. So, do you all have any questions? Okay, so with that, then let's wind up the session today. Thank you for joining, and good night. Okay.